What's up, guys? Neil Orfield here, taking a look at Stokastic's MLB DFS Lineup Generator for tonight's slate. It is Friday, August 11th. While you're coming in, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification button so you can get alerts when our shows go live. Of course, you've not yet signed up for the Lineup Generator. You can still get it for 50% off your first week using the link in the description of this video. If you're on YouTube or if you're on Twitter, just in my tweet, use that link. You're going to get it for just $4.48 for your first week. Regardless, it's still going to be just $8.95 every week at the regular price. After that, still a fantastic deal. This tool is only going to give you plus EV lineups. Every single lineup has been run through the Stokastic Sims. Any lineups that were not long-term profitable lineups were discarded. All you're getting here are lineups that were found to be plus EV profitable lineups over the long haul in these Stokastic Sims. We're going to start here by looking at some DraftKings lineups. I'm going to do all stack types. So again, we're getting a mix of 5-3, 5-0, and 4-4 stacks. I'm also going to do all lineup types. So we're going to get a mix of chalky, balancing, contrarian lineups. Not going to lock anybody. All right, let's just see what we get here. So our first lineup here, we have Lance Lynn and Luis Castillo as the pitchers. Lance Lynn and Luis Castillo, the top two pitchers in the top pitchers tool in terms of top two pitcher odds. So Lance Lynn, a 25% chance of being one of the top two pitchers on this slate on DraftKings. Luis Castillo, 19% chance. The stacks here, we have the Royals 5-man stack, no secondary stack. So this is a 5-0 Royals stack. Looking at the top stacks tool, Royals third on the board with a 7% chance of being the top stack. This one looks fairly chalky, not fairly, very chalky. It is on the far left end of this scale. Again, I did all lineup types. We're going to get some chalky lineups mixed in here. As long as we get a mix of chalky with some contrarian and balanced lineups, I don't mind playing some chalky lineups. They're chalky for a reason. Obviously, this lineup projects really well. Projection nearly 112 fantasy points. All right, I'm going to save this one. So this one, as you can see, projects a little bit worse, but it's also getting a little bit less chalky, a little bit lower ownership. We've got Lance Lynn and Luis Castillo as the pitchers. It's the same as last time. The top two pitchers on the board. And then we have a 5-3 Oakland and Dodgers stack. Top stack tool, we have the Dodgers sixth on the board with a 5% chance of being the top stack. The A's middling. They have a 4% chance of being the top stack, but they also have a 13% chance of being the top value stack. So they allow you to pay up for the more expensive Dodgers team. Again, this one a little bit lower ownership, also a little bit lower projection, but I'll take it. Seems like a nice one to mix in with the more chalky last lineup. And of course, we've got some lower owned bats here. We've got Soderstrom with just 3% projected ownership, Rosario 5%, JD Martinez 3%. So some Brent Rooker 7, plenty of lower owned bats mixed in here with some more chalky bats and chalky pitchers. All right, I'm just going to save this. I'm just going to go through. Actually, let's take a look at one more because this one jumped way down closer to the contrarian end of the spectrum. Now we've got Charlie Morton as the pitcher with Lance Lynn. Just misclicked there. Charlie Morton down sixth in terms of top two pitcher odds, 11% chance. This one we have the Cardinals and the Nationals as the stacks, 5-man Cardinals stack, 3-man Nationals stack. We've got the Cardinals top of the board, 11% chance of being the top stack. The Nationals down the board quite a ways with a just 4% chance to be the top stack, but then a 7% chance of being the top value stack as well. So just want to show you one more because it's unique to the other ones. All right, I'm just going to go through and save 20 lineups now. After 20 lineups, this is our exposure. We have 85% Lance Lynn, and then fairly flat after that. Nolan Arenado, our next top player, 40% exposure. Dylan Carlson, 40 as well. So really Lance Lynn, the only player that we got to an extent that I might be a little bit concerned. I might go back and get rid of some Lance Lynn lineups. I'm usually a little bit more willing to eat the chalk at pitcher. Still 85% feels a little bit high to me. So maybe I'd try to discard a few Lance Lynn lineups, get back down to like 70% Lance Lynn, something like that. But honestly, 85% for a pitcher in just 20 lineups is probably not that big of a deal. Probably not the end of the world. Just know, there is a 75% chance that he's not going to be one of the top two pitchers on the board. So I'd probably cut it back a little bit, but you don't necessarily need him to be one of the top two to really have a nice lineup. So that would be my approach. I'm generally okay with the exposure to everybody except for Lance Lynn. Maybe I'd cut back there just a little bit down to like 70%. Let's take a look at some FanDuel lineups as well. Again, we're going to do all stacks, all lineups, skip. Lance Lynn, the pitcher for this one on FanDuel. See how he grades out in the top pitchers tool for FanDuel. He is top of the board with a 9% chance of being the top pitcher on FanDuel. Then the stacks, we've got the Mariners and the Cardinals, 4-man Mariners, 3-man Cardinals. JD Martinez as a one-off. So for this one, Cardinals top of the board, 11% chance of being the top stack. Mariners, where are they down pretty far on the board? Just a 2% chance of being the top stack, 2% chance of being the top value stack, but less than 1% ownership. So at least a little bit of positive leverage on the Mariners. Looks like a nice lineup overall. Very far on the contrarian end of the spectrum. This one projecting for 128 fantasy points. Let's compare that to the next one, and just 81% ownership, 128 fantasy points. Now this one, doesn't project all that much better, and the ownership shoots up to 102%. Still didn't shoot all the way up to the chalky end of the spectrum. That would have been a little bit more interesting. Even we probably would have projected a little bit better and much higher ownership. But you can see the differences. Generally, your projection is going to go down slightly, but you can still find some lineups that project nearly at the top and have lower ownership. So here we have Luis Castillo as the pitcher. He's number 2 on the board with a 7% chance of being the top pitcher today on FanDuel. And then we have a 4-man Phillies stack with a 2-2 Dodgers and Blue Jays secondary stack. Phillies looks like they're 7th on the board with a 5% chance of being the top stack. Dodgers, 6% chance of being the top stack. They're 4th on the board. And then the Blue Jays down a little bit further. They have a 4% chance of being the top stack as well. All right, now I'm just going to save 20 lineups, see what our exposure looks like. All right, so after 20 lineups, we have 60% Lance Lynn, and then again, it's Nolan Arenado, 40%. Now we have Paul Goldschmidt up there on FanDuel as well, 40% exposure. I think I'm comfortable with this. I would probably just run these exact 20 lineups. They're pretty diverse here. 60% Lance Lynn is a bit much for a site where you're only playing one pitcher, but probably okay getting to 60% Lance Lynn as long as the bats make sense. And again, these have been run through the sim, so like even if you're concerned about the ownership on some of these have all been found to be plus EV lineups in the sims. That's all we really care about, is finding lineups that are going to be long-term profitable. So I'd be comfortable, I think, with this 20 lineup set. Probably wouldn't change a thing. All right, that is going to do it for this video. Again, if you haven't done so, please do like the tweet or the video if you're on YouTube. Really does help out quite a bit. Thanks for watching. Good luck tonight.